Hello everyone, my name is Estefany Durán. My ID number is 1180164. In this opportunity, I will be presenting what is dark romanticism, some of its history, and also some of its exemplary works. So welcome. So dark romanticism. This is a literary subgenre of romanticism. Dark romanticism is a genre steeped in complex emotions and expressions of individualism. It is literature that reflects popular fascination with the irrational, the demonic, and the grotesque. The name dark romanticism was given by the literary theorist Mario Praz in his study of the genre, published in 1930, The Romantic Agony. Dark romanticism is distinguished from romanticism in its emphasis on human fallibility and sin. They are pessimists, whereas romantics believe in human goodness. They are optimists. According to dark romantics, even good men and women drift towards sin and self-destruction, and there can be unintended consequences that arise from well-intended social reforms. Those are the things that dark romanticists believed in. Dark romantics focus on human fallibility, self-destruction, judgment, punishment, as well as the psychological effects of guilt and sin. There's an even darker side of the dark romantics, which is called Gothic literature, and it involves sheer terror, personal torment, graphic morbidity, and the supernatural. Historical context. Within the genre of romanticism, two opposing subgenres emerged. The optimists, who believed in human goodness and spirituality, grew into the transcendentalism movement. On the other hand, the pessimists, who embraced human fallibility and our predisposition towards sin, grew into the dark romantic movement. The dark romantics were drawn to the dark side of the human psyche, the evil side of spiritual truth. The dark romantics rebelled against the Puritans, who came to the country to escape persecution, but imposed their own religion and societal rules on others, judging those who did not conform. So these authors, the dark romanticist authors, they were drawn to humans' imperfections, self-destruction, sin, and the hazards of social reform. I will now move on to mention some of the exemplary works of this movement, starting with Moby Dick or The Whale by Herman Melville. This is one of the most recognized novels in the genre of dark romanticism. Other work by this author includes Typee and his book Billy Budd Sailor. Next, we have The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. And this exemplifies dark romanticism in its themes of imposed judgment and punishment for those who commit sin, resulting in alienation and self-destruction. Now, he believed, this author, that for all of our weaknesses, hypocrisy and suffering, the truth of the human heart usually prevails. Now, this author, Nathaniel Hawthorne, he has other very, very famous work, such as Young Goodman Brown and The House of the Seven Gables. The next exemplary work of this movement is Descent into the Maelstrom by Edgar Allan Poe. Practically all of Edgar Allan Poe's canon falls in the dark romanticism genre, in which he explored the psychology of the conscious and subconscious mind. The book that I just mentioned, A Descent into the Maelstrom, is a fine example of this, and he has a lot of famous work, including The Fall of the House of Usher and The Raven, and a lot of other poems. Finally, I want to mention I Felt a Funeral in My Brain by Emily Dickinson, who challenged the definitions of poetry and exemplified dark romanticism. She wrote almost 2,000 poems, and less than a dozen were published in her lifetime, and the rest were discovered after her death. I included here, I Felt a Funeral in My Brain, her last previously mentioned poem. And since she wrote a lot of poems, mostly her books are composed by a compilation of them. I want to close my presentation with a quote that says, "Science has not yet taught us if madness is or is not the sublimity of the intelligence." And this quote is, of course, by Edgar Allan Poe. So I hope that you enjoyed my presentation of dark romanticism, some of its history, characteristics, and of course, the famous work and authors of this movement. Thank you very much. And yes.